Here is the scandal of the soul. Heaven crowned you long ago, but somewhere between paying bills, answering messages, and shrinking yourself to fit other people's comfort, you put the crown in a drawer and forgot where you left it. Tonight, I'm not here to hand you a new one. I am here to remind you where you hid the old one and how to wear it without apologizing. Picture this. A woman hustles through her morning, keys in her mouth, coffee on her shirt, laughter lodged behind a sigh. At a red light, she catches her reflection in the window. Not a failure, not a too much, not a not enough. Just a queen in exile wearing a hoodie. She smiles at just nothing, because the crown she needs doesn't sit on her. It sits on awareness. Queens don't wait for ceremony. They are the ceremony. Queen, here is not glitter or hashtag. It is sacred leadership. Queen power that steadies a room. Wisdom that feeds a village. A spine that bends in compassion but not in compromise. It is the ancient knowing that your life is a throne room and your choices are decrees. Somewhere, a younger you still believes that. Somewhere, an older you is waiting for you to remember. In this message, we will uncover how your royalty was covered by cultural noise, unhealed wounds, and hand-me-down narratives that taught you to apologize for your light. We will decode forgotten laws of inner sovereignty, expose the imposter that sits on your throne. Fear, comparison, hurry, and reforge your sculpture, authority, boundaries, and blessings. We will laugh at the lies, heal the ache beneath them, and practice the daily rituals that keep your crown aligned. I won't flatter you, I will sermon you, because the world doesn't just need more content, it needs more crowned women, steady, luminous, and deeply kind, who rule first within and then serve without. If your heart has been whispering, there must be more, this is your knocking answered. Breathe. Lift your chin. The palace is not somewhere else. It is you. Awake. Now, let me take you back, my friend, not to a fairy tale, but to the very beginning, when God says in Genesis 1:27, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God, He created him, male and female. He created them. He didn't say assistant and king or maid and master. He said image. Do you know what that means? It means you were born with the architecture of divinity stitched into your being. From the first breath, heaven signed your name in royal ink. But here's the tragedy. Generations of noise have made you forget your original design. Instead of standing as a queen, partners in dominion, carriers of wisdom, nurturers of nations, we were taught to shrink, to beg for permission, to doubt the reflection of God in our own eyes. Think of Esther for a moment, not the Hollywood version, polished and perfect, but the girl trembling in the palace corridor, a refugee raised in captivity. She wasn't handed courage with her crown. She had to step into it. And when she finally did, her voice shook kingdoms. That is what sacred leadership looks like. It's not loud. It's not desperate. It is the quiet decision to remember who you already are and act like it. But let's get honest. Many of us have traded the crown for counterfeit thrones. We sit on platforms built on lies and applause, forgetting that eternal validation is a rented crown. It slips, it tarnishes, it will always fall. Real queens understand what Proverbs 31 whispers. Strength and dignity are her clothing, and she loves without fear of the future. Did you catch that? Laughs, not worries, not begs. She laughs because a woman rooted in her divine nature knows storms are just rehearsals for miracles. Here's the deeper truth. Being a queen was never about hierarchy. It's about harmony. Being so aligned with your Creator that you lead not from ego but from essence. That is why you can walk into a room and shift the atmosphere without saying a word. You don't have to announce royalty when you embody it. Yet, somewhere, someone told you that leadership meant hardness, that femininity and power couldn't share the same room. So you lean to overperform, overgive, and over-apologize, wearing exhaustion like a trophy. But heaven is calling you to return, not to hustle, but to wholeness. I met a woman who once said, "I don't think I've ever been a queen." I smiled and said, "Oh, you have been one all along. You just stopped answering to your name." And that's what this message is about. Not becoming something new, but remembering what was within in your spirit before the world handed you script that didn't fit. Because when you remember, you reclaim. And when you reclaim, you rise. not above people, but into purpose. Here's the first truth you need to understand, my friend. Queens are not made, they are revealed. You were royal before you knew the word. Your crown couldn't come from your degrees, your job title, your relationship status, or the number of followers you have. It was there before you learned to walk, before you learned to doubt, before life taught you how to shrink. The journey of reclaiming the queen within you isn't about adding something new. It's about stripping away everything that was never yours to carry. Let's break it down this way into 3 principles. The first principle is the crown of awareness. You cannot rise to a throne you did not recognize. Think about how often you've walked through life, forgetting your reflection, looking at yourself through the cracked lens of other people's opinions. Maybe you believe you were too loud, too soft, too broken, too much, or not enough. But the truth is this: the crown doesn't vanish just because you forgot to wear it. Awareness is simply the quiet moment when you pause and say, wait, I've been royal this whole time. I once met a woman, Angela, who had spent years dimming her light in the name of humility. She thought playing small made her more lovable, more acceptable. One day, while mentoring a younger woman, she said something profound without even realizing it. She said, the moment you stop shrinking, you give others permission to expand. That is awareness. That is when the crown adjusts itself. Principle 2, the throne of identity. Awareness alone isn't enough. You must sit in your throne. A queen understands her identity, and with that comes authority. You are not just a daughter of God. You are an heir, an extension of divine creativity, wisdom, and power. Here's a story to illustrate this. A young girl once entered a palace where her grandmother worked as a servant. She walked past the golden pillars and whispered, I don't belong here. An older woman said, child, the palace doesn't make you royalty. Your blood does. When you understand your spiritual identity, you stop begging for access to spaces where you were born to build altars. You stop fighting to be seen because your worth is not up for recognition. When you understand your spiritual identity, you stop begging for access to spaces where you were born to build altars. You stop fighting to be seen because your worth is not up for negotiation. Principle 3, the scepter of boundaries. The final principle for today is boundaries. Every queen holds a scepter, a symbol of her authority, not to dominate, but to guard her space and purpose. This means learning the sacred art of saying no without guilt. It means protecting your time, your energy, and your heart from anything that drains your light. Humor me in a moment. Imagine a queen in her throne room, allowing anyone to storm in, shout at her, and rearrange her space. Absurd, right? Yet, how many of us live like that? Saying yes to everything, letting fear and people pleasing dethrone us day after day. Boundaries are not walls, they are gates. They don't shut love out. They teach love how to enter respectfully. Now here's a paradox, a divine paradox. You don't have to earn this crown. It is not a prize for being perfect. It is a reminder of who you were before the world made you forget. And the moment you wear it, really wear it, something inside you shifts. Your words carry more weight. Your silence speaks louder. Your presence heals spaces you don't even speak in. And that, my friend, is just the beginning. Now, here is where the three mystery deepens, my friend. Wearing the crown is one thing. Living as the crown is another. You see, most people think reclaiming the queen within is about surface level confidence. Walking taller, dressing sharper, speaking bolder. But sacred leadership isn't just about posture, it's about presence. A deep spiritual alignment that shifts atmospheres without you saying a word. You know, every queen speaks a language that cannot be fake. It's the language of stillness, of alignment, of faith. So now listen to these mysteries. The first mystery, the hidden language of a royalty. I remember meeting a woman named Sarafina during a leadership retreat. She didn't say much, just smiled, observed, and occasionally laughed at the right moment. But when she finally spoke, it was as if the room paused to inhale her words. Why? Because she wasn't speaking from ego, she was speaking from essence. This is the power of the forgotten queen. Your energy introduces you before your words ever do. It's not arrogance, it's spiritual clarity. When you remember who you are, you don't have to compete. You are. The second mystery, the battle for the throne. Let me tell you the truth that most people don't teach. When you decide to reclaim your throne, opposition will come. Not always in obvious ways. Sometimes it's subtle. Old insecurity resurfacing, people misunderstanding your boundaries, even spiritual fatigue whispering, maybe you are not enough. But here is the divine paradox. Every throne requires a battle, but the battle is never enough. The battle is never with people. It's with the inner narratives that says you are not ready, not wealthy, or not capable. Those voices are not prophecy, they are residue. And residue cannot hold a throne. I've seen this countless times. Women stepping into their calling, only to retreat because they weren't prepared for the resistance that comes with elevation. But listen carefully, dear friend. Elevation always attracts opposition. Don't misinterpret the friction. It's proof that your crown is adjusting. Third mystery, the anointing of soft power. The secret the world rarely teaches is this: real queens don't need to shout. Their power isn't in force, but in flow. Think about the ocean. It doesn't rush to prove its depth. It simply is. That is you. When you remember the anointing on your life, you stop hustling for validation and start moving from a place of overflow. Soft power is when your no carries as much love as your yes. It's when your presence feels safe but uncompromising, warm but unwavering. This is the paradox of divine femininity. Strength that bends without breaking, and love that holds without losing itself. The fourth mystery, breaking the myth. Let's dismantle some myth while we are here. Myth number 1. Queens don't struggle. False. Queens cry. Queens wrestle. They question and heal. What makes them royal is not perfection, but persistence. Second, queens must be loved by everyone. False. Some people will misunderstand you. They will misunderstand your boundaries as pride. That is okay. Not everyone is meant to sit in your throne room. 3. Queens don't need community. False. Every queen needs a circle of wisdom keepers. Women who see your crown even when it slips. This part of the journey is where mystery meets mastery. When you start operating from your inner throne, you notice something shift. Your conversations deepens, your prayers sharpens, your intuition strengthens. Suddenly, things you used to chase start finding their way to you. Not because you are lucky, but because alignment is magnetic. And here's the final whisper of this section. You don't become a queen, you awaken her. Now that we've overcovered the truth, my friend, let's bring it down from the clouds and plant it firmly into your daily life. Because a crown is only as powerful as the queen who wears it consistently. Here's the practical steps, the daily principles that will keep you walking in your royal alignment. The first practice, morning alignment. Begin your day on the throne. Before the noise of the world flows your mind, start your morning with a queen's ritual. Stillness. Sit in silence for 5 minutes. Place your hand on your heart and remind yourself, I am a daughter of the King. My days bends to divine order. Read one scripture, just one. For example, Genesis 1:27 or Proverbs 31:25. Let it echo in you throughout the day. Also, imagine placing your invisible crown on your head. This small visualization shifts your posture, your confidence, and your energy. It might feel simple, but queens are built in quiet, intentional moments. The second practice is boundaries as daily decrees. Every queen sets decrees, and boundaries are yours. Start small. Say no to one thing today that drains you. Protect your creative and spiritual time like royalty guards a throne room. Stop explaining your no. A queen doesn't defend her sovereignty, she lives it. When you say no to what diminishes you, you automatically say yes to what expands you. So don't fear to say no to what diminishes you. Practice 3. Cultivate the inner court. Even queens need wise counsel. Build your inner circle. A few trusted friends who see your essence, not your performance. These are the ones who remind you of your worth when life tries to make you forget. Text one person today and say, "Thank you for seeing me." Gratitude strengthens the bonds that keep you rooted. The 4th practice, the daily check-in. Each evening, ask yourself these 3 questions. Did I honor my boundaries today? Did I speak to myself with the love and respect of a queen? Where did I allow fear to sit on my throne? And how will I take it back tomorrow? Reflection turns awareness into transformation. 5. Service without self-forgetfulness. Your crown isn't just for you. It's for those your life will touch. But here's the balance. Serve from overflow, not depletion. Volunteer, mentor, speak life into someone. But always remember, your flame must say it for you to light others. You cannot pour from an empty vessel, and you are not required to burn yourself to keep anyone else warm. 6. Practice, embrace the honor of healing. Healing doesn't always look like solemn meditation. Sometimes it looks like laughing at the old stories that told you you weren't enough. Humor softens the process and keeps your heart light as you grow. These practices are not grand gestures, they are quiet revolutions. And with every day you practice them, your crown aligns, your boundaries strengthens, and your presence sharpens. Living as a queen is less about external perfection and more about eternal sovereignty. The quiet confidence of a woman who knows who she is and why she's here. Now, let me conclude by saying, you were never ordinary, my friend. You never have been, even in your lowest moments. When your heart was cracked, your prayers were whispered, and your reflection felt like a stranger, the crown never left you. It might have collected dust, but it never fell. This isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering the woman you already are, the woman heaven designed before the world taught you to shrink. And as you reclaim your throne, remember this: your awareness is your crown, your identity is your throne, your boundaries are your scepter. And when you step into the alignment, something in the atmosphere changes. Not because you are louder, but because you are clearer. Clear about your worth, clear about your calling, clear about your divine right to stand in rooms, build legacies, and love deeply without apology. Let this be your takeaway. You are not here to chase validation. You are here to embody truth. And if you've been wondering why your light felt dim, it's because you've been trying to live crownless in a world that needs your royalty. It's time to rise, not for applause, but for alignment. So tonight, whisper to yourself, I am here. The queen within me is awake. Say it until it feels less like a mantra and more like muscle memory. And then leave it softly, powerfully, consistently. I'll leave you with this reflection. What would shift in your life if, starting today, you stop asking for permission to be powerful and simply started being? Sit with that question. Pray on it. Write it down. If this message stirs something in you, take a moment to share your reflection in the comments. Your story could be the very spark another forgotten queen needs to rise. Now, lift your chin, walk in your palace, and remember, your throne has been waiting for you to come home. Would you like me? I've been waiting for you to come home. This is the ThePZipporahcode, and I am ThePZipporah. Thank you. Bye.